Well, welcome back, everyone. Lights, camera, action. It's Make Our World Your Runway. You know this is the weekly show that interviews the most fascinating individuals from the world of modeling, fashion, beauty, business, and even the entertainment industry. And as always, we have a very exciting show planned for you. We have an excellent guest who you're really going to love her today. But before we begin, we always like to make a few special announcements. And one thing we like to do is we want to thank our sponsors who make this show so possible every week. And that is Lasky Architect, Lux Salon, Margaritaville at Sea, 100 Successful Women in Business, Transmedia, the Global Trade Chamber, Vita Designs, and SP Fashion Direct. So sponsors, thank you so much for making the show possible every week and gives us the opportunity to always interview a fabulous guest. And if you want to see these shows, remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so that you can see all the shows from Make Our World Your Runway and Success Stories. And while we're on the subject of success stories, I highly recommend that our viewers do tune in to Success Stories because this show features the most amazing women in the world from business and community service. From humble beginnings to successful entrepreneurs, these women will totally inspire you. And like I always like to remind our viewers, get ready for some exciting conferences, speakers, and awards as 100 Successful Women in Business and the Global Trade Chamber will be coming to a city near you. And of course, we will always keep you informed in the city that we are going to next. And one of the things about these conferences is that there's always networking, business expo, fashion show, and as we did in Boca Raton, yours truly, Make Our World Your Runway, will go live. So to get all the information on where we are going next, make sure to visit the website at www.100swb.com. All these events are free events to attend, but if you want to be a speaker and you also want to be an exhibitor, you must go and register because I am telling you all these shows are a total sellout. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, the website www.100swb.com. And we hope to see you at the next city that we're coming to near you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, like I always like to say, lights, camera, action, it's on to our show. And I have a wonderful, wonderful lady here today. Okay, she's been a family nurse practitioner for almost 10 years, and she's been in the healthcare industry for 19 years. She's originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and she relocated to Southeast Florida in August of 2018. And as a family practitioner, she treats women's health, acute problems, such as sore throats, sinus infections, ear infections, and chronic problems like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And she does manage obesity, weight loss injections, and she recently started telemedicine practice in June of 2024. So ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be very interesting for everybody, men, women, children. So I want to welcome to our studio today Desiree, how do you pronounce your last name?
Weems.
Weems. Welcome, Desiree, to Make Our World Your Runway.
Thank you, Angela, so much for having me today. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm honored to be here on the show. So thank you.
Well, we're honored to have you, and especially the fact that you are involved with healthcare.
Absolutely.
Okay? There are so many people out there that need that today, and especially a lot of women out there that need that. Okay?
Absolutely.
Women's health is, I think, very important. Men's health is very important. But with all the controversy going on, women's health is something I think that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Maybe addressed in kind of a personal way because everybody's views are different. But just the fact that there's somebody like you that they can go and talk to, I think is very important.
Absolutely. And women's health, more than anything, Angela, I think has been under attack more than anything, especially in these last few years.
Oh, yes.
So when you have, a woman who's presenting to you for whatever the case may be, they want to, first of all, feel like they're in a safe and comfortable and lax environment. And that's exactly what I do. So I love meeting with my women, my men, my children, but especially my women. And I go in and I have that conversation with them. It's more of a conversational than it is a visit.
Right.
And that's what really helps relax the visit. That's what helps sets the tone, and we go from there. So I'm able to find out what's going on, what your complaint is, and really pretty much go from there and figure out what type of treatment that you need today. And that's exactly what we do. The patient leaves out well educated, satisfied, and definitely returning for the next visit.
Right. And you just said something that's very important, educated. There are so many people out there, even myself sometimes, okay? and the way the technology is changing. We don't know. And it's always good to have that comfort zone, that knowing that you can go and speak to someone that would be able to give you good advice, good medical advice, but at the same time is concerned about your mentality and your well-being as well. And that's what you do. And that is something that's extremely important today.
Exactly. I make sure that my patients leave not only feeling comfortable, but educated. Do you understand why? How do we prevent this from happening again? Whatever the issue or the complaint is. Right. So there's a whole lot of prevention that can be done if you educate the patient. You know, if you have that concept where your hand is constantly on the door and you're looking to get out, the patient will always come back and leave dissatisfied.
Exactly.
But if you take that time, that extra 5, even 10 minutes, whatever I have to do to make sure that my patient is leaving out of here well versed in whatever the topic that we're talking about, they're satisfied, their return rate, and not that I don't love my patients, I do.
Right.
But if you're coming back, that's fine, but let's make sure that you're understanding exactly what's going on. How can we prevent this from happening, whatever the issue is, again?
Right, exactly. And what's good about that is because you're giving them educated advice. And as I always say, you know, sometimes people don't like to hear the truth. Okay?
That's right.
When it comes to their own well-being. And you have to know the bright side of what a treatment is, but you also have to know, it's like going to surgery, the risk side of it as well, too.
Agreed.
You know, I just kind of went through something like that, and thank God I got like a second and third opinion. I've had a kidney stone since before COVID, okay? And it's large. It's like putting jelly bean through a straw. It's not going to move. But every now and then, it'll give me a little bit of problem.
Yeah.
So I went back to the kidney doctor last week, and he said, all right. He said, look, he said, I know there's been an ultrasound, he said, but I need to do a CAT scan now. Okay, and I did explain to them I'm allergic to dye. He said, no, we can do this without contrast. Then he comes up with, well, we should do a renal scan. I said, what's that? He said, oh, it's radiation.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, I'm going to go on fire. So being that I have a heart condition, I called up my heart doctor, and he said to me, there was silence on the phone. And I know how my heart doctor is. He's strict, but there's a reason for it. I knew I was going to have to hold the phone like this, and he's like, you know better than that. I said, okay. He said, no, absolutely not. And then I went over to see my family physician. He's looking at the paper. He said, that's a lot of radiation. He said, no. He said, believe it or not, it could damage the kidney, but it could damage the heart. He said, they can do all the CAT scans on you they want. He said, but that. So made me feel good because I felt like there were two people.
That's right.
That were saying, no. We could do this, but we cannot do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, hey, everybody's body is different. What I'm allergic to, someone else isn't.
That's right. And that's why they say, Angela, that medicine is truly an art. You know, we're taught in school, you know, follow this algorithm, follow, you know, this particular treatment plan, but you have to customize it to the patient that you're seeing. Right. Nobody presents the same. I may need 500 milligrams of this dose, but somebody needs 250. You know, so you have to truly listen to your patient as the provider and use medicine as an art, knowing that, okay, nobody's going to respond the same, and listening to those subtle cues, you know, of how they're responding, making sure you're doing that follow-up visit. Right. That's more important than anything.
Exactly. And that brings me to another point. I was in the cosmetic industry for years, 27 and a half years. And, you know, women would come in about their skin and what can I use and what I cannot use. And in New York City, we got some excellent training, okay? In fact, at one time, they actually brought in Dr. Fauci.
Wow.
That we went to listen to about skincare and diseases. And one thing that he had taught us, and he said, if you are selling skincare to someone, he says, and some of this stuff can be very potent, look at the first 5 ingredients. That's what, if you know what you're allergic to, know what's in there,
right?
Okay? He said everything else is just a touch of something. He said, but you also have to ask your customer, what type of medicine are they on? What do they have any health problems? He said, because believe it or not, you could put something on your face and have an unbelievable reaction, which I've seen happen. And it's all because it might be that didn't work with your system. You're allergic to something in there, or you're on some medication that doesn't agree with that product.
That's right.
And so I always had to educate people coming through the door and saying, okay, what is the problem with your skin? Why do you think you need this? No, let me divert you over to something else. Okay. Now, I made a stupid mistake not too long ago. It was a product that came out that I wanted to try. And I didn't look. A little touch of mineral oil in there, the first 5 ingredients on it. So no wonder why my skin was getting, because I'm allergic to mineral oil. Not a lot, but I am.
But in high enough concentration, you are.
Right, in high enough concentration, I am. And I've said, stupid me, all this preaching I've done for years to all my customers, and here I am going to buy something and didn't read it.
Oh, gosh.
So I said, okay. I said, I got to go back to reading that first 5 ingredients. But just like what you do, I always used to have to sit women down and educate them. And you'd be surprised what you find out when you sit and talk to people.
That's right. And let me even go a little bit more below the surface on that too, Angela. In acne management, you want to find out if there's a hormonal problem. Okay, and speaking of like women condition, polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS.
PCOS, right.
That how that woman presents, they tend to present heavier with weight gain, irregular menstrual cycles, hirsutism, which is basically hair growth in places that normally wouldn't grow, such as the chin, and acne. Okay, you can have some of those symptoms, you can have all of those symptoms. But for a patient who's presenting, yeah, it's easy to go ahead and slam you with a bunch of topical things, but let's get to the root of it. Let's check your hormone panel. Let's kind of see where you are with everything. Let's find out why you're having that acne. Exactly. Is it related to something more hormonal? Either way, let's get to the root of it and find out. When you target the why of it, almost everything else can be pretty much obliterated. Or if you have to use it, a much more lower amount. Because I found out why you're having the acne. So yes, let's use the topicals, let's use the facial washes, let's do all of that, but let's get the hormones under control first. Now you won't need as much. And if you do, very, very small amounts.
Exactly. Well, you're talking to the right person, because I went through that myself. But it's true, because women would come in, and I'd have a lot of women during the menstrual cycle saying, why is it so many days, my skin is great, and then all of a sudden, I said...
Those hormonal changes.
I said, look, when I was at that point, I said, my skin is good for 2 weeks. I said, then the other 2 weeks, I said, don't break out. I said, but you got to see dry patches here, dark spots. I said, what you can do is you can change your moisturizer. I said, within the 2 weeks. Use something a little bit different. I said, that's going to combat those hormonal changes, okay? And I think the biggest thing I suffered going through that time period, and has now tapered off, was severe migraine headaches.
Oh, yeah.
I got the worst. I would be in bed for a day. I'd have to throw up 5 or 6 times to get rid of that headache.
Gosh.
Okay? And even when and that runs in my family, migraines. But as I got older and the menstrual cycle stopped, the migraines got less and less and less. Now, if I get a migraine, even if I get a bad one, I can take an Excedrin, aspirin-free, and in 30 minutes, with a little bit of Coke, it's
done. Yep.
Done. Yep. Okay.
And that's all contributed to the hormonal changes with the menstrual cycle, Angela.
Right. Exactly.
And a lot of women don't know that they sit up and they suffer for God knows how long, months, years, with these different symptoms. So you want a provider who's going to listen to you, know those red flags of, okay, headaches, mood swings, debilitating cramps, that heavy flow.
Oh, yeah.
You want somebody that's going to listen to all of that. So that all encompasses women's health.
It does. I like my husband always says, well, us men, we don't have to go through it. I said, oh, really? I said, if you don't think men don't go through hormonal changes, guess again. I said, you got grumpier as the years went on. No, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. Yeah. I said, the back of your hair is not as thick. I said, so don't tell me you don't suffer at anything. But men want to ignore that. But they don't realize they do go through it.
They do.
They do go through it.
They do.
I said to him, all right. I said, are you losing more hair than you did when you were 30 years old? He said, yeah, you got a point. I said, well, there you go. I said, that's the body. I said, changing. I said, what do you think, you're going to be a spring chicken forever? He said, I didn't say that. He said, but you women seem like you have more problems. I said, yes and no. I said, because it's a little more concentrated. I said, but sit down, I said, and ask yourself, do you have a lot of energy these days? He goes, no, not like it. Well, there you go. I said, I have more energy than you do. And it's true, I do. Okay, I'm the type of a person, I could go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm using this as an example. I could get up at 7 and felt like I slept for 12 hours.
All night, yeah.
Yeah, because the minute I hit the pillow, I go out. My husband could go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and get up at 10 o'clock the next morning and he's still tired.
Exactly.
But
that's possible.
He should have been a bartender because he's a night out. He's a night. He should have been a bartender. I always told him that. He, for some unknown reason, he'll fall, and I've seen this. He'll come home from work, he'll fall asleep, get up at 12, 1 o'clock, and want to do everything. I said, why don't you just open a bar? I said, you'd be great. He said, I was always like that. He said, as a kid, he had his days and his nights mixed up. I said, you still have your days.
Well, yeah, and men have
that.
hormonal changes too, decreased testosterone levels.
Right.
That's huge too. So, I know that a lot of focus is on women with us, but men have those changes too. So you'll find that men, they come in too for hormonal workup and studies.
Oh yeah,
to see what's going on.
Big commercials on it. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those testosterone supporters, absolutely. Men use it all the time.
Yeah, and my husband said, well, I don't need that. I said, you're one of the lucky ones. I said, shut up. I said, don't brag. I said, but there's men out there that have that problem. I said, it's like women. I said, look, years ago you'd never see any commercials on that. Okay, this was a subject nobody wanted to talk about.
Right.
Okay.
Always kind of like taboo kind of deal.
Right. I said, but today, this is a wide open thing. I said, because it's the human body. I said, and there's nothing wrong with the human body. I said, some people make it taboo, but if you do it the right way, there's nothing wrong with it. Right. But I'm like, okay, and I said, Al, you're one of the lucky ones. I said, but there's a lot of men out there that, we talk about women's health, but there's a lot of men out there that have that problem as well.
That's right. I think men are great with going in for exercise and that sort of thing, but a lot of men, they hate being stuck for blood draw.
Oh, yeah.
They hate even admitting they even have a problem in the first place. So I think that as healthcare providers, we should be encouraging not only our females, but our males too, that, hey, the doctor's office is a safe place to come in for care, to open up and share whatever your issues are.
Exactly.
I'm tired, decreased libido, a lot of those things that we begin to see. So, and those are just gradual changes that you just see over the lifespan.
Right, and there's more doctors that are specializing in men's health today than there was years ago.
Sure
okay,
is.
And I always had a men gynecologist, but as the years went on, I like a woman gynecologist because I always felt they understood a woman's, as years have gone on, they understand a woman's bodies better. Like, I'm going way back. It was way back where men, they said, always had more heart attacks than women. And they were treating a woman's body almost like a man's body. Now they've realized, I had my heart attack starting to go through menopause because the levels dropping. And the heart kind of takes a little bit of a shock, okay? Not that I had a heart condition anyway. But, so now they're going more into studies on that.
Right.
Okay? Where they didn't do that years ago. So now you've got today you've got a lot of female gynecologists, which is great, and that's great for women, but you've got, when I watch television, you see a lot of male doctors out there, from Peyronie's disease and all of that where men can go, it's private, they can discuss it just like you said, and get the correct information.
That's right.
Okay, and not feel like they're sitting in a circus somewhere.
Exactly, or being judged, or looked down upon, or feeling uncomfortable. So that's even more important that, we're bringing the men along too with it, letting them know that it's a safe place to come.
Exactly, and when you talked about blood, now as tall, as big as my husband is, when he goes to get blood, he passes out.
Yeah.
I'll sit there.
Yep.
Okay.
I've had so many tubes of blood drawn out on me for various reasons, so.
I just put, because I have one vein that really comes out. He said, go ahead, there it is. He sits there, he starts shaking.
Yeah, yep.
I said, wait a minute, a guy that's 6'1", is you afraid of I don't like that blood taken. I said, well, I said, how do you think they're going to do anything? I said, they're going to find out. I know, but I just don't like it. I said, and then he yells at me. If I go in to have a procedure, he goes, let the mechanics do what they need to do so you can get back on your feet. I said, you're telling me that? I said, meanwhile, you can't even sit and have blood taken.
Right.
I said, this is not, 2 and 2 does not make 4.
That's right.
I said, no. But it's great to have someone like you because I think more and more people need that. And I think you're kind of an expert on educating people about vaccines as well.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that we're vaccinating ourselves, that we're staying, if you're already vaccinated, getting your booster shots, especially, we're on the tail end now of the cold and flu season, but you can still go out now and get your flu shot. You can still go out and get your COVID boosters. Right. So absolutely staying immunized, that's of great importance.
It is. It is of great importance because, and especially people that travel, okay? And I was telling a friend of mine, I said, you think the COVID shot is bad? I said, many, many years ago, when I was with the a cappella choir in school and we were going to Europe, I had to take the typhoid shot. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I said, they gave it to me right here.
Yeah.
I was sick for 2 weeks, off and on, fever. I said, but you know what? I went overseas, nothing.
And Angela, let me debunk one myth. A lot of people think that the flu vaccine causes the flu. It does not.
It does not, no.
It does not. So I definitely want to stress that the flu vaccine does not cause the flu. What it does is that it creates an immunity response.
The antibodies, raising
exactly. It raises it up to give you that protection.
Right.
Raises the antibodies up so that if you do encounter it, your body is least likely to suffer, much more terrible components of the actual flu.
Right. You might, like I said, and I always tell this to people. I said, look, I'm not saying that you won't get the flu. You come in contact with someone, you might get a little bit of sniffles, a sore throat, but you're not going to run that fever.
Exactly.
You're not going to wind up in the hospital
symptoms,
with your lungs full of fluid. I said, I just had a very good friend of mine. He's a DJ. I was wondering why I had not heard from him. Calls me up about a month ago. I said, you sound terrible. He said, I'm just getting out of the hospital. I said, well, what happened? He says, I had RSV. I said, well, didn't you take the vaccine? He's about my age. Oh, I thought it was going to give me RSV. I said, well, how silly is this? You thought the vaccine was going to give you RSV. You didn't take it. Meanwhile, you got RSV.
You got it anyway, yeah.
I said, where does this make sense? And I said, I took it. I said, I've been in contact with people who've had RSV. I said, nothing. Not even my nose is run.
Right.
He said to me, you took it. He's nothing happened. I said, no. Other than my arm getting sore and getting a little red.
Yeah. Exactly. That's usually the biggest thing, and that usually subsides all within about 24 hours. So
yeah, 24 to 48 hours.
And it's about outweighing the risks, versus the benefits versus the cons type deal. With everything in any art of medicine, that's exactly what we talk about.
Right. And I always say that. What is if you're going to do something, you got to weigh the facts.
Right.
Okay. If I take that vaccine, all right, maybe there could be something. But I'm not going to wind up in the hospital.
Right.
Okay? And I always tell people, listen to somebody like me that has a heart condition. I said, you get that blood clot in your lung, and it travels to your heart. It'll travel in seconds. You smoke, light up your last cigarette, because that's about all you're going to do.
Right.
And they look at me and they laugh. I said, I am not kidding you. I said, I've been there. I said, I was given 30 minutes to live if they didn't get it and do that operation and put those stents in.
Yeah.
I said, imagine somebody telling you, we don't get up there, you got 30 minutes left for the rest of your life. I said, so I look at things in a little different perspective, okay? Get it done, they put the stents in, 2 days later I walked out of the hospital and the rest is history.
Right.
Okay? And what I love what my doctor does is he always will, every 3 months or every 4 months I go back, and he asked me the last time I was there, he said, what's your secret? I said, what do you mean it was my secret? He said, I've had people in your position. He said, still don't want to put 2 feet in front of them. I said, this is my philosophy. I'm here now. Where am I going to be 30 minutes from now? Where am I going to be a week from now? I said, I don't think about it. I keep going. I know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I know what I have to do. I know the medicines I'm on. I know the certain exercises. I know what I have to stay away from. I keep going. I said, if I sit and dwell on it all day, you know what? Probably would put myself in the ground.
Yeah.
I said, I said, look, I said, Doc, you're telling me everything is fine. I know for a fact, I said, no, you're going to agree with me. I could come out of here, walk down the street and have a fatal heart attack. You never know what the heart is going to do.
Right.
He said, no, you're right. I said, so, and I think the reason why we get along is because I do listen to him.
Right.
And when I was in the hospital about 2 years ago, and they wanted to take the 1 kidney stone out, and they said, we got to stop the plastics. I held my ground. I said, no. I said, you better call Dr. Kahan. I said, because he's going to tell you. Oh, well, he's got you scared. I said, well, he's done it for a reason. And during COVID, even when the vaccines came out, for a year he would not let me travel.
Wow.
And I understood why he did that. And then when he saw things really, he said, now you can go.
And see, and that's exactly why I entered into healthcare, Angela, to be honest with you. The whole reason I wanted to be the type of provider that I needed when I was coming and growing up. that provider who's going to listen to me, that provider who's going to make things in lay terms that I can truly understand. So I recently opened up my practice last summer, virtual NP medicine.
Yes.
And with that, I provide telemedicine services that allows me to reach you virtually anywhere. You can call me anytime. You can call me morning. You can call me in the afternoons. You can call me in the evenings. And what patients love about me is not only am I seeing you at the time that's most convenient for you, but we're having a conversation just as we are right now.
Right.
You're telling me what's going on. I'm empathizing with you, listening to your symptoms, putting it in a way where sometimes, you just don't feel good. You want somebody just that's going to listen to you, get straight to the point, or sometimes you just want to have that more open dialogue type conversation where we've known each other for years. Either way, you're getting that personalized care. I'm able to ask you your medical history, your allergies, what medications you're taking. As long as everything is fine, I go ahead and send your medication. Patients love that. Not only do I do that, but I also follow up with you within 24 hours to find out, hey, did you get your medication? How are you doing today? And then even doing a follow-up call a week later just to say, hey, Angela, how are you doing? I know I saw you last week. You weren't feeling great. How are you today?
Right.
Exactly. and closing that circle of healthcare with that and making sure that you know that, hey, I'm here for you next time if you need anything. Just let me know.
That is perfect. Well, we only have about 5 more minutes left, but if you can tell our viewers exactly where to reach you, how to reach you, and whatever you want to tell them.
All right, sounds good. So once again, virtual NP medicine. You can go to my website at virtualnpmedicine.com. You can also give me a call for an appointment. My phone number is 561-808-5752. I would love to be able to see you for whatever your problems are. I prescribe the Moujaro. I prescribe the Ozempic medications for weight loss management. I will be happy to take care of your acute problems. So think of me if you have an earache, sore throat, UTI. If you need me to manage your hypertension, your high cholesterol, you can't get into your primary care provider. It's going to be over a month before you can see them. Call me. I would love to be able to see you and take care of you.
That is fantastic, and I definitely hope that you will become in charge of healthcare for the Tower Club, the prestigious Tower Club that we definitely both belong to. It's a great organization. Max, you heard it, so if you got any problems, you know where to go. But anyway, Desiree, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Angela, for having me today.
This is one of the most fantastic shows that I have had the opportunity to host because I learned so much. And to all my viewers out there, I really, really hope that you have listened to this session because with everything that's going on today, all of us, including myself, need to be educated.
That's right.
Once again, we want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on Make Our World Your Runway. And to all my viewers out there, stay tuned because every week we always have something exciting. We want to wish you a great weekend. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Make Our World Your Runway. We'll see you next week.